Testing. We good up there, John? Excellent. 7 o'clock, we'll call the meeting to order. Everybody have a chance to preview the previous minutes. I know, John, you did, and you've submitted some stuff online to be addressed. So we'll go over your things first. So page 4, it says Lance stated that he has called the police in the past and they've refused to respond. However, Lance was not at the meeting. So can someone confirm who made that statement? Yes, I made that statement as I was with Lance on a couple of the requests that were denied. Or
I will agree with that. Yep.
push a button.
I agree with that. Yes.
So, well, Lance wasn't here. We've made that statement. Yeah, we've made that statement in the past that they've been denied. So it would be understandable that it would say Lance, but as Lance wasn't here,
He was quoting
No.
me and I agree.
that was the East Bakersfield thing and the ATVs on the avenue. We said to, one of our responses to that was to call the sheriff's department or state police as those roads are closed. So, and then it was brought up that they do not respond. And we just confirmed that in the past, we have had issues with responses. And I made that statement as Lance wasn't here. It has actually been both. We've reached out to both parties and neither have responded. The only, I would say the only people who have responded to calls have been the game wardens.
What I have witnessed, I would agree with that.
Yep. So the second thing that was brought up is on page 5. It states in the minutes that Josh said there's a resident in Bakersfield whom is an arborist that they can contact for advice. It was believed that we determined that after the statement, the individual actually lives in Enosburg now. But I would reach out. That is true. They do live in Enosburg by about 5 feet. So yes, Enosburg is correct. However, you could see where somebody might get confused.
What was the individual's name?
Shane Lumbra lives on the road between Sand Hill and Joyle. Butternut. Thank you, Mac. And the last thing is on page 5, the last sentence. You have reformulated. It should read reform. Okay, can you turn that mic towards you? Put it on your table, Tammy. Right here, this one on the corner. Put it on your table, turn it towards you so we can get your input.
It's something about reformulate the ARPA committee and actually
Yes.
bring them here.
Reform.
Okay, so reform. Got it.
Okay. Did anybody have any?
And
other-
then for the tree, the limbs down on the green was you, Josh, not Linda.
Correct.
You were saying that
Okay.
you said refused to park. And then Linda said the historic registry dictates that an arborist look, correct?
Right, correct. Okay. Was there any other corrections? If somebody else found something that John didn't, I would be thoroughly impressed. Seeing none, I would entertain a motion. Can you please turn your mic on?
Motion to accept the minutes from the last meeting
With
with the
correct-
noted exceptions. Correct. I'll second that motion.
Motion's been made and seconded. Do we have, oh, we have a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed?
And Lance abstained, says I was not at the meeting.
Thank you.
Oh, so that was four.
Yep. That's 4-0. All right. Reports and warrants are being passed down through. We can look over those and get them signed. Next is finance. Like to talk to us today?
I was just gonna tell you guys that I don't have anything for you unless you have questions for me.
Excellent. Any areas of concern?
I already spoke to you and Lance about the TAN loan.
Okay, yep.
That was pretty much all of it.
Just out of pure curiosity, how are we looking on fuel? Like equipment fuel? 'Cause We built this budget not anticipating
$6.
$6 a gallon, yeah.
$6.40.
I don't even have it on me.
Yep, the equipment, diesel fuel, sorry. 30,
We got 16,000 left, is what, from what we budgeted.
okay,
1,000 less? Yeah, just over 16,000.
which just to give you an idea is just barely over half. That could be an issue, Mac. So I hate to say this, but if there are any places that you can find to cut back, because we obviously know that in November and December, we're gonna be plowing snow again. So if there's anything we can do to hold off to get some more money that we could build up for that. I hate to do that to you guys because I know you always come to us with a budget that is the bare minimum of what you need and you try to stay within that, but
Nobody anticipated this much tripling of the price.
yeah. I guess we can cover this later, but is there the possibility that we would have some excess funds for FEMA? If you can just brainstorm on that a little bit in your head and we can cover
Possible.
Okay.
But
something that just
we're
might help
looking
offset.
at, 2 months before we can get any further payments. We're looking at a deadline of August for the last big project. August, yeah. Maybe. If not, we'll have to file for an extension. If they are done by the 1st of August.
So if everything goes perfect, it could be here to help offset that.
Our FEMA loan should become nearly 6 to 8 weeks. Right. 6 weeks, then it goes to the next section, which is expected to be a month. I wouldn't count on any more.
So,
4 or 8 weeks.
so
And that will bring us up to not quite a zero balance.
after that could potentially help offset.
Yes.
That was,
Well, no, but then there's, after that, we go to the major project, the Goat Path. I mean, the Goat Path Bridge, quite honestly, There were a few in town that really wanted to have the bridge back, but it was something, honestly, really good, in my opinion. Over 600,000 plus for a bridge.
Yeah, the school bus.
I understand that.
I block them every day, so obviously I'm gonna be one of those people.
And you are entitled to that.
Oh, you are entitled to that opinion, absolutely.
Sometimes I have to do a 3-point turn on my F-250.
I still think we could have come up with something for less than that. for school bus. But the trouble, a school bus coming out of there turning south. No, it's any long vehicle turning south.
No, it's fine. I just want to
A
make sure.
car or a pickup is okay. A truck,
No, it's
Pickup isn't
not.
okay.
school bus.
I just
is-
did it with my work pickup and it wasn't okay. I'm
Yeah,
glad
make-
nothing was coming.
I don't have a problem.
I was over the yellow line.
Do you probably spin your tires though. We're trying to get away from that, Lance.
But that's water over the bridge anyways. We're
It
already
is,
fixing
it's
it.
already in, so.
The
Oh.
bridge is done. It's done. The project is going to happen. It is in progress now. They are working on putting the footings in. It will happen.
Yep.
Absolutely.
And just to get back to where we were, I was just asking if that might be something that would be there to help come December, November.
Do I expect there to be some surplus? Yes.
That's how quick. it comes. Okay. So we can, okay. I had forgotten about that. Yep. Okay. Okay, perfect. Thank you.
It's just an item that we've got to keep close track
Yeah.
of.
Yep. Thank you, Mac, for pointing that out and for keeping a tight ship down there because we're gonna need it this year by the looks of things. I don't have any other questions. Does anybody else have any other questions for?
Just some mild ones for Maria. Like, I'm noticing there's a few things that were in the negative on anticipated. For instance, like postage. What did we spend $700 in postage since March on? Well, that we had 200. Yeah,
I believe it's for the,
Prepaid envelopes mostly.
oh, the prepaid envelopes. Yeah, we had to buy it.
Ton of money.
$700 in that, and then
60 cents a piece now.
yeah, that's true. And then
Big, yeah, you buy them in bulk, so you get a better.
right,
The school generator.
yeah, the school generator. What happened with that,
we
Mac?
didn't- It hasn't been,
It's been
nobody's
serviced.
looked at it for 3 years. I mean, you guys looked at it, but.
No, Cat.
But they haven't looked at it for what, 3 years, 2 years? 4 or 5 years? That's why.
Okay,
It
so
had
we just weren't
maintenance- it had
anticipating it.
Maintenance that,
We did budget for that.
It's not showing
I-
anything.
No, because that I think just went into equipment repair.
In some, like, I did make a new line item for flags in here, just so we
Roughly
could
casual.
keep track of what we're spending on flags separately.
Yep.
But I think we put that in the memorial
We did.
day fund,
Yep.
just so.
What was the I'm sorry. What was the Vermont Leagues of Cities and Towns Property and Casualty? The $5,400 expense? I'm just assuming we didn't plug in numbers for this stuff. Is that what it is?
Insurance, would that be?
I think so. I'm pretty
Okay.
sure.
I just figure you're reporting a little bit different than it was maybe in the past, and it pops up here because,
I don't
you
think it
know,
was a line item.
right, and now it's a line item. So just
I think
I'm
that
trying to make
would
it
have
so
gone.
it's a little bit more, like, easier to understand.
Yeah.
understandable. No, absolutely. I just, because I'm seeing like,
Yeah.
you know,
You've seen the negative, so you're like.
yeah, what the heck's going on there? Okay, thank you.
Which come budgeting season will make it easier because we will have those numbers there, easy to look at. Definitely is. I think some of it might have got combined.
Copy of the contract.
Yeah, because we definitely had, we definitely had
They could.
the heating oil for the north and south building. Yeah,
I'm sorry. If the oil's going up any further, we're gonna have to build a fire. You got a wood stove. When you clear the side edges of the road, you can use that one. to
Burn
get
it.
it. That's right.
just. All right. Any
Crazy.
others? Thank you for pointing that out, John, and thank you for the explanation. Any others?
To Maria,
Yes.
I want to thank her for putting together a report for me to be able to meet the ARPA deadline, and I really appreciated digging all that stuff up. For me.
And then Brenda, when are we expecting a second distribution of the ARPA funds?
June, I believe.
Thank you.
State that it's nice to have an expense report that's understandable and complete and accurate. Thank you
Although that makes it easier for us to question you.
Yeah,
right.
All right. I'm all set. If everybody else on the board is, thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda is visitors. Visitor with topic or just ARPA? Okay.
Everybody else, right?
I have not. I'm the only one left here.
Okay.
I just try to go last just in case there's any.
Yeah.
Is the light bright?
Oh, it's
There,
brighter.
there we go.
Okay, so the last meeting, I was told that our request was going to be tabled
Correct.
because of changing ARPA rules.
Correct.
I saw the April 29th, just kind of recapping what the rules are. It still falls in with what we've put in for request.
Okay.
It's lost revenue. I don't know if you voted to do standard allowance or if you made a decision on that as a group.
We have not made any decisions on ARPA. As I stated,
Is that
the la-
something that you intend to do or?
It is, and as discussed, we wanted to reform the small committee that would review requests and then vote on those and then present them to the select board for approval. What we'll do is we'll approve or disapprove with
Yeah.
information that will help the select board say yes or no. And we're still in the redoing that stage because of the number of people. And I think, were you on the original committee for that?
I don't know that, I wasn't aware that there was a committee, so I don't
We
think I
had an ad
was.
hoc meeting that
We had
actually,
a Zoom meeting with very few people.
Yep.
And I was in attendance at that, yes.
okay. So basically, we're gonna bring those people back to do it again, but now with your proposal, with other lost revenue proposals that are in town right now, with the several businesses that have reached out.
Mhm.
And I've asked them, but haven't seen it yet, to
Okay,
give me a comprehensive view of what was lost. Lost wages at one business, lost revenue at least two other businesses, and those also qualify. So I want to make sure that we have that. So when we all sit down, we all can look at them all at once. So I will work to press them to bring information to us in a way like you brought it to us, so that the small committee can make a recommendation up or down, and then return it to the board for the final decision.
And correct me if I'm wrong, Brenda, but the state has also made recommendations as to not disperse any monies immediately, not to rush paying out so that they can basically nail down exactly how they are going to determine it can be spent.
Yeah,
Yeah, and-
one of your concerns was the number of times that the state has taken a step back and changed the rules, and you wanted to wait until things stabilized. Is that correct?
Yeah, on advice of League of Cities and Towns, they said, don't spend it. So,
Well, I
Uh,
thought we as a board decided that we were gonna wait and see if there was, because we now could use it towards budget items, which before we couldn't.
Right.
yeah, and with all due respect to those, we could take the whole amount of money and put it in our general funds, which is okay according to the federal government and the treasury. We don't know what the state will want us to do with that. So the money is there. It's earning a little bit of interest. It's in an interest-bearing account and it's not going anywhere fast. Once we, let me set a date to bring that to the small body that will talk about the ones that I've already fielded of early June. Early
Well, if we decide to go that route, we might not want to do another small committee because we might do,
June. You want to spend hours doing
towards-
that?
well, no, we had talked as a board
Yeah.
of maybe doing it towards equipment that we needed.
Yeah, but no decision has been made.
Right.
Right, no
Right.
decision has
And
been
all-
made.
And all of these amounts would total under $100,000, which would leave us over $300,000.
Right. But I think at this point, as a board, I don't think we really decided which direction we're going with it.
Correct. We can-
Just as long as you understand there's more to infrastructure than roads and bridges.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
There is, but I would be willing to say that our town has pushed aside our roads and bridges for many years, not wanting to take on the financial burden of raising the
Around
taxes.
town and you'll see other things that have been pushed aside too.
I
That are
I
part of
agree.
our infrastructure.
I would agree.
Okay.
I just, yep.
But they also have committees that could be doing stuff to get those areas up to snuff.
One of the biggest things that they said,
Bottom line, Ms.
Yeah.
McCall,
Yes,
is that we are undecided as to
I got that
how
message.
to, I'm making it perfectly
I
clear.
got that message
As to
loud
how
and
to
clear.
spend this money right now. And there are many, many deserving areas where this could be spent. However, there is not enough money to fund them all.
I
And it is going to
understand that.
fall to the select board to decide. And
Not an easy decision.
it's
in
not
either
an
way.
easy decision. We're going to be blessed and blamed and cursed, and
Of course,
banked and
goes with the job.
I was
it
saying,
goes with the job.
how's that any different than that?
I think,
Other thing, on that standard allocation, have you discussed it as a group and where do you stand on that?
Nope.
It sounds like it's the
It-
wisest way to go.
It is still wide open, way up in the air.
You understand what they're asking for a standard allocation? It's less hoops to jump through, as I understand. And it's just a matter of voting to go that route or go the hoop
Yep.
route.
But for instance, if we gave money to the Historical Society and money to here and money to there, and the grader dies, and all of a sudden we don't have money for a new grader.
Non-tax-paying entities that receive the monies that could have
Yeah.
purchased the new grader.
Historical Society's gonna hit you up for taxes too. Because our fundraising capability doesn't meet the demands. And like you said on fuel oil, our cost of fuel oil is gonna triple.
I think the two things with the ARPA piece was that, and correct me if I'm wrong, Brenda, we don't have to spend the funds till 2026. And the second thing was that the Vermont Leagues of Cities and Towns has strongly suggested that we take a look at matching grants and things like that. And anything that we could get funds with a grant, we shouldn't be using the monies for, or have been prior funded through grants, we shouldn't be using the money for.
Imagine, because if we can double the money, that's where we want to go. And I'll go on the record to say there's somebody in town now that writes grants and
I understand
the name is sitting.
regional planning also. has
Yeah,
people
regional
that-
and regional
Writes
planning.
grants.
Excellent resource.
yes.
It would be nice to be able to author those here and have them reviewed by regional planning, so that we can get money. Grants that flow through
Mhm.
often. Gotta look at all of it.
So
we've
I will
gone
admit-
that route.
I will admit, we're moving slowly and deliberately on this. And
If you've had the opportunity or interest in reading our application, you'll see that we applied for grants during the time of COVID, when we couldn't get structural engineers in there to give us the report that we needed to give us a competitive application. And so it wasn't until the last grant before we really needed to start that work, because it was a case of it's hold it out any longer, it's going to cost more and we're not going to have the people to do it. And Jenna from Preservation Trust of Vermont helped us by saying, you know, we'll hold that up until you get those reports in and then submit it. But that was the 10,000 grant. That was a small piece of what we had to pay out to get that job done.
I did.
And it has to do with the sustainability of the building for public use,
So
not
did they
only for
do
the Historical Society, but also as a community center.
Did they do the job but didn't have the money to do the job? Is that what you're saying?
We borrowed money from the town to do the job. We had people in the community, you know, and friends of the community that gave $30,000 of that. We borrowed 40,000 from the town. Yes.
But I'm confused. So they borrowed 40,000 from the town, but don't have means to pay it back?
Mm.
Is that the
We're gonna-
case?
We're gonna pay it back bit by bit, but we're gonna ask for tax dollars to help us pay it back. That's how it works.
Still a rob Peter to pay Paul. So that-
Exactly.
Well,
It's a-
if
it's
it
like-
gets voted, but if it doesn't get voted,
it
then
doesn't
where are
get
you?
voted, Then we pass the keys over to
Better
the
start
select
doing
board and
some
say, here you
baking
go,
over
you got
there."
a building to maintain.
No, because there was a certain individual that,
Yes,
Signed.
guaranteed.
yes.
We have some individuals that guaranteed the loan, and it was very kind of them
Yes,
to undersign.
yes.
Yes. That is true.
So to
Their
recap,
age is against them, but
ARPA, there is a plan and the plan is to hold it off as long as possible.
okay.
To make sure we
Our
develop.
first payment is due on July 1st. We do have the funds to do that.
If there are difficulties.
Best we can for fundraising.
Understood, understood.
We would appreciate your support at our fundraising events. I think we don't see very many of you there. We see Lance. Saw Brenda.
I'll be honest, I didn't even know you had fundraising events. I won't lie to you. I didn't know. You can email me it when it's up.
I don't make them all
No
either, so.
fundraising
You work
events for
on
me.
Saturday?
Yes,
Okay. Sundays?
yes.
Donations.
Tuesday
Appreciated.
night is the only night I don't
Donations
work.
appreciated. We had one individual that moved out of town that gave us $20,000, $10,000. That project, which was very kind of them.
Nice.
Little donations,
Do a
they
nice-
all add
Do
up.
a Calcutta dinner. They make a lot of money.
They do, and they're fun.
Golf tournament. They make a lot of money.
Come and organize it for us.
I have no.
We have nobody who knows how to organize those.
Right
do
up
the best.
there, Robbie and Mary will do one. They'll help you organize it.
Robbie,
Runs a
My
country club
neighbor.
up there. Yeah,
Lisa's son. Okay.
ask him about it.
How much?
On a golf tournament?
For sure, it's gonna start out a little lax, but if you
Yeah.
were to maintain a continuous,
Depends on how many golfers you go with, how many golfers you get. Will depend on what you. I mean, you can make anywhere from 10,000 to,
How much does the Gates one bring in?
that one's an extreme case.
Yeah.
I'm just curious.
I couldn't tell you really.
Don't know.
Does that bring in more than
But it
normal?
brings a lot.
Well,
Oh,
you've got,
okay.
you've got 5-man teams and you've got 36 5-man teams.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and a
Okay.
waiting list.
Yep.
Last I knew to get on that one. That's different.
That's.
Oh, no, I wasn't aware that it was that large.
But the fire department does one.
Who runs that one? Do you know? Who's in charge?
I believe Robert and
Ah.
Matt Hall.
So they might be good people to get in touch
Okay.
with too. I mean, just throwing ideas out.
Yeah. Thank you.
Any
And then
other?
there's the cemetery commission also, and there's issues there that we will bring up before the next town meeting for discussion of different things we've been talking about and thinking of,
Such
but
as.
such as,
You weren't here at the last meeting. The
I
carrier,
know,
the
that's why
carrier,
I'm
board-
asking such as.
carrier
as.
beam in the hearse house was
Mhm.
one of the topics.
Well,
that
we
was
gotta-
brought-
we got to do a repair on the Hearst house, but that has to be discussed before.
And
The
the
town
Hearst
meeting.
house itself is on the historic register. correct?
It is not.
It is not
It
really.
is not. I checked that out. And I know that Nancy at one time had talked about putting it on, but I don't think she ever got to that point. I think things got complicated in her life and
Yeah.
that got set aside.
Yep.
So
Hearst still on
that is
display.
something that needs to be done.
The hearse is still on display at the museum.
Shelburne Farm.
Right.
So what's the house used for?
The building needs work. It's got a center beam that was rotted. You can see a sag in it.
I've
The
seen it.
painting needs done.
Yeah. I've
To be
seen it.
done. So we're getting estimates to get some work done there. And some of it's from volunteers. And like you folks, volunteers all have jobs and things to do that they can't dedicate time to get that done. So
The last time that hearse house was painted I believe, was in 2002. A student who was in college took it on as a project
mhm,
and enlisted the help of a bunch of high school seniors. And it was painted for community service that is still required by the high schools.
mhm.
I was part of that back in 2002.
You got a group of students that could do that?
If you call the local high schools, there is always students that are screaming to the guidance counselors, I can't find anywhere to get community service.
Okay.
I'm not saying they're looking real hard, but they are looking to their guidance counselors to point them towards some sometimes. And I believe BFA,
Yeah, both. BFA you
Enosburg
have to-
definitely, BFA does. I wasn't 100%. Enosburg definitely does. Richford, I believe, still does. And I think on that one, if you could sell it as a group option, I mean, I think that took us a weekend to do, many hands make light work. So that could be an option there. Obviously not for the rebuilding of the beam, but for the painting at least, and exterior painting is not.
Did they paint the roof back then?
I don't believe we got on the roof. No, I
That
think there
needs to be
was,
done.
I think there was an insurance thing, because I think you had to be 18 to be on a ladder for safety reasons,
For a
for,
lift?
well, we didn't have a lift. It was all done with step ladders or extension ladders up against the building. There was no lifts.
Okay.
Stood on the roof out front for the upper part of it, but there's definitely,
I hate to ask this question, but what is the Hearst house used for?
Storage
Storage. For the cemetery?
for the cemetery. Yes.
So how much are they storing in the building?
Sometimes stores her lawnmower there in the summertime, rather than hauling it back and forth. And then there's equipment in there, spare parts, maintenance materials and equipment. Plus the folks that put up the creche, that all those materials are stored in there too, because the conservation committee doesn't want it stored in their barns. And it is a historic building. It adds a lot of character to our town. It demonstrates the amount of pride in this community, and we don't want to see it fall down or become a burn project.
Right. And was there any consideration, I know that was brought up at the last meeting, that the actual fund, there is a fund for things like that? And did you look into any of that portion of it?
A fund for that.
Well, the cemetery has a fund, right? I think,
Cemetery has money in their account.
right, money in the
That
account.
goes, maybe they should pull back the $100 that they put into a porta potty every year,
Right, there it is. Right.
you know, and they do that for the community. And then they pay for their water and for the mowing. The mowing is almost $10,000 a year.
Really?
They have fence that they need to maintain. They have a goal of changing that chain link fence. They would like to put it back to the old diamond rail fence that was around there. Across the front as well, yes.
It will.
And they're doing restoration work on stones. If you walk through the cemetery, you'll see stones that have slid off their foundations.
They are getting
And
back to doing
broken.
those this year. Good.
They've got
good.
money allocated for that this year.
Excellent.
You drive down there today, you'll see that they put some crushed stone on part of that circle around in the cemetery. Looks really good. So we do have a good group that's very active and working. And people that are no longer on the cemetery committee, Willie Maynard, that still stays very active in doing things, you know, with the group. And we're always looking for volunteers. So don't be shy. Both the Historical Society, Cemetery Commission. What we had talked about last meeting, Lance, was the interest in knowing what portion of the ball field that the cemetery committee can plan on for future expansion. Because when you look at that cemetery, you see, it's probably got another 50 years.
Excuse me.
Get that?
From what I've read, there's a conflict in deeds, 2 different deeds claiming 4 acres of land.
On this out here?
Yeah.
And what's the conflict? Can you?
4 acres is supposed to go with the town garage.
Mhm. And
Which-
that was deeded when?
I have to. I would have to look. I have read them, but
Okay.
sorry, they are.
Okay, no problem. We can do the research. Okay, and no. But before they spend money to do any surveying, they would want to have a quick claim to know that their money is being invested in something that's going to serve them in the future.
So you're saying a quick claim to say that they own it before they have a survey to see if they own it.
Survey wouldn't show that they own it. They would have to do the title search.
Right. So
So you'd have
It
to
would
do a
have-
side title search before you quick claimed anything.
right, and if the
Agreed.
title search said that the town owned it, then what?
I think that's what she's saying with the quick claim.
That's where
The
it's at.
cemetery is part of the town, right? So is the town gonna say,
But
cemetery in the future, you can use this?
It's, this is the problem is
The town owns both.
Right,
The town owns
Why would you
town
want to
garage,
spend
if
money
it's
to
town
find out?
cemetery, the town owns it either way.
Yep.
It's whether it's being held in the right hand or the left hand.
exactly. But the right hand wants to know what the left hand is doing with it before they,
this
They-
is a small town. Good luck with that.
exactly. Before they say, okay, this is what the future of the cemetery is. Because if, you know, we're not gonna be here probably in 50 years, I know I won't. But the future,
Society.
we can't,
It is.
we can't keep in our bubble and not worry about what happens in the future, you know? When that land's used up, then they need more land for a cemetery. And yes, more people are getting cremated, so they don't take up as much space.
At least there's walls now too, right?
We're not
Spread
worried
the
about
ashes on the
You're gonna
ball.
spread me around.
They have the walls now, right? Where it's like a big vault where they open up, put so many urns. Vaults. Yeah, they're like little vaults for urns. It's tall drawers, yeah.
But it is, Linda's correct. It is something that needs to be determined and decided.
So both of these items. Both of the items are. as you
I'm
say,
just gonna be
one's
coming
in the
back,
left, one's in the right.
coming back until you
You
get a
can.
decision.
Yep.
Okay, just,
Um,
just want to let you know. All persistence.
Yep.
It's all good.
No, this is an issue that has come up many times in the 15 years that I've been on this. And no, I'm speaking to the policy as to who owns what down there. And it hasn't been of any great concern because there's no urgency to it. So it's just been.
And the Historical Society still has their septic system there and they have an easement for septic using the old common school
Yeah.
area.
Who gave them the easement?
Septic.
We got the easement from the school. And then when the school went unified, I don't know if you were on that board, but they quit claiming any interest they had in that land to the town. Easement, that easement,
No, at least the top we own.
But-
Town.
Technically, the town owns everything.
Oh, I
Yeah,
know.
that's,
Everyone got to.
Yeah.
Josh is 100% correct.
It's just a matter of which entity within the town is technically, I mean,
who are you gonna take care of?
if you put in a big enough headstone for me, they can just park a truck on top.
Just use the truck.
There we
They're
go.
deep enough.
So
Yeah.
the foundation's buried over there too for the old common school.
Yeah.
I didn't even get to enjoy the Brigham. That's how bad that is. Missed that by a year, I think is what it's.
Just graduating.
High school,
No, I think
correct?
you missed it. Yeah, Tiffany's the first one that didn't get to go.
So I missed it by 2 years then. All right, I don't feel so
Like that
bad now.
kindergarten at The library.
And the other thing, I do have an interest. There's a vacant position on the planning, regional planning. And I do have an interest in that position, if you're still looking for somebody.
Always looking for people to fill our vacant positions.
Hmm?
We are also looking for a constable.
I don't want to be
You don't,
constable.
okay, I was letting you know what's out there for.
Dog
vacant.
catcher.
Happily puts you on.
What about the dog catcher?
Regional Planning Commission, if you agree to be constable too.
And don't catch it.
Forgot to tell you, that's a joint
Joint
position
position,
now.
yeah.
No, because that comes with dog catcher and I got a dog that's antisocial.
Okay.
That would
Um,
not work.
If you, so what we would need for that one is a recommendation from the rest of the board to appoint Linda to that position.
For the
I make a
regional.
recommendation to nominate, I nominate Linda McCall.
We have a second. We have a motion made by Lance Lawyer, seconded by Brenda to put Linda McCall on the Regional Planning Commission. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
it.
We'll still be
Have a
here.
good one.
Maybe. Maybe.
Have a good evening.
We're still gonna be here, poor Linda. We aren't gonna have any money.
Roads.
Thank you.
Thank you.
At the last meeting, 2 meetings ago, when you signed all those papers, I took them to the state. 4 or 5 days later, we received a paving grant for the 1 mile. Boston Post. So
Excellent.
that will be coming. There's paperwork coming that we have to,
From the north end south. That the section you were going on to,
Yeah, yeah.
where it gets the
Not
most
down
traffic, the heaviest
from
traffic
the
area.
where the running is from the.
Yes. Yep.
Down as far as, times almost, or all, just out there driving.
Couldn't do it for the whole Boston Post. You can only go,
There's a money limitation.
oh,
You can only get so much, and to do a mile, that mile was shim and overlay, and then put the shoulder on, figured up to $180,000 or so.
oh, wow.
How far past, which cat is that?
It won't, it,
Smooth out where they paved last year. Town line. Yep.
10%, right? Or is that 20? 20?
But I believe, so you're gonna talk about,
36. 180, it's 36,000. Our share.
yeah, we got that much in there though.
Yes, we got 50.
Hydro Cedar, the grant that we applied for with Bethany,
Yep.
we did not get accepted for that in the first go round. But I got an email the other day, Lance and I got one that said, or I think you got one,
Mhm.
that we were accepted in the second go. Well, she didn't say it that way, but we got accepted in the second go round, which was in January,
Provisional type.
for the Hydro Cedar, which she wanted to know if we still wanted it. Contacted her, yeah. So the only drawback there is 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks, because it was after the last meeting that I found out about this. And I talked to Bethany, and Bethany said, yep, that's not a problem. You have to have it and take a picture of it being used by the end of June. So,
We better get on it.
well, I've got calls, and he's supposed to be, well, the first one was supposed to call me back, but he never did. The second one says he's gonna send me an email on the price, which is still looking around 7,500, which is a 6,000 from them, 15 from
15
us.
from us. Yep. Now, who have you got information?
Milton Rental is the one most people go to, and there is a place in New Hampshire.
Is that anything Pete's Repair can get?
I don't believe so.
No, as I say, it may be
I
worth a
don't-
call to
I
Michael.
could call, but what she said was, these are the two places that everybody's dealing with.
Okay.
And when I called Milton, they said that District 3 had just got one, the state.
Okay.
And it was, because she had said she thought it was up towards 8,000 right now, which of course can make us pay a little bit more, but still.
But still worth it.
But when he said, talked about District 3 getting it, he said it was still around 75. But he was looking into, it wasn't so much.
Yeah, supply.
availability.
Supply is
Yeah,
bad.
exactly.
Yep.
That was a big thing there.
And you told him order it or get it here?
Well, he was supposed to get back to me very soon. I will call him tomorrow and make sure that.
Yep.
But yeah, I made it clear that it was a grant, and we had to have it operational.
Can you possibly reach out to Bethany and just explain the circumstance that, hey, you
Well,
know,
that's-
this is,
She did know, she knew that, and she said there's probably some way we can work with, because
or we
obviously.
can go down to District 3 and take a picture of theirs. I don't care. Just, I mean, if we're gonna get something, you know, for basically peanuts, I think
I mean, obviously,
we gotta do what we can to get it.
she thought she had sent us the thing in January, because she said, did I not? And then Lance, I asked
I didn't
Lance,
get one.
he didn't get
You
it.
got one.
I didn't get it. I said that her, and she said, well, it's gonna make it kind of tight, but if, I can explain things, try to work things out with,
Even if we
Yeah.
just had like a purchase order or sales agreement with the dealership.
it might work,
It might
but for
work.
some reason, this particular grant wants a
sure.
picture of it.
Where we pull it.
Thank you. Yeah. Take a drive.
Yeah. Other than that,
So,
roads aren't too bad. They're getting dry and hard.
Yep.
Grading pretty well done till it rains.
then we get some rain. You're not gonna grade the day before it rains, right? That's just, that was a question that was brought up. so. Thank you. That
That
was,
that was a joke.
that was a joke. Sorry.
That was,
Tammy.
that was, a-
Strike that. That was a joke.
there are places you can grade the day before.
Yeah, I know. I'm just picking on you, Mac. I just,
Furthermore, I drove on that road you were complaining about the other day. I didn't think that was very bad.
I didn't complain about it. I was just giving you a hard time about it.
so I have had a question brought to me
Mhm.
by the Little League. Apparently, 3 other towns in Franklin County have, I don't want to say allowed because I don't feel like that's the right word.
They okayed the town.
They okayed the town to go to, I thought they said Castleton,
That's what I thought.
to pick up a load of the red clay for the base paths. It is a little ways away.
Yeah.
Enosburg, shut. Yeah, but that apparently is the only place you can get this mix for the fields. I have been asked. I said that I would bring it forward and that I would abstain from any voting as I am a Little League coach, but the town of Bakersfield has many volunteers this year that are trying to get the fields back up, trying to rebuild the Little League, and they've actually done a really nice job. And
They've done a lot of work.
they have, and the one request they had was, would the town be willing to go and get a tandem load of this clay for the fields?
The field and the buildings were in terrible shape.
Vandalized.
Yeah.
Severely vandalized. So,
Where's the clay at?
100%. Like I said, I was
I know.
the one further south.
That's New Haven.
New Haven, okay.
Like I said, this was brought to me. I don't have all the information.
Fairhaven.
Fairhaven.
Brought to you because he asked me first.
Right.
And I said, you gotta go there.
And that's what he said. And he was like, they've got a game tonight. They're over there making use of the field right now. Well, probably not anymore. It was a little people game today, but I said I would bring it forward and let the rest of the board discuss and decide.
How much do they need?
I would say if we're driving down there, you might as well get a tandem load. Well, unless we drive the mini. Or the
One truckload would be.
Yes, sufficient, yes. They're just looking to top dress what they have there, because it's all sand.
I think the town. Publicity.
As I said, I'm abstaining from the discussion and the votes.
What about the diesel fuel to get down there?
We'll have to pay for it. And yes, it is $6 a gallon.
That's a long ride.
I'm very happy to see
But-
ball fields going back into play because back when my kids were playing, we worked really hard. Those fields were beautiful. We had beautiful facilities.
Yep.
And then
Yep.
they got destroyed
They did.
to no return. And we've got some young people that are finally coming back in, bringing it back alive, which is amazing because
Quite a few of
not
them are,
many of them wanting to do that anymore.
right? A couple of them are actually kids that played during that time, so it's,
Yeah.
they remember what it was, and that's what they're trying to get back to.
So
I'm definitely in favor.
I'll make a motion that the town of Bakersfield donates a truck, a driver, and the time and diesel fuel to go down to Castleton and get a load of this red clay and deliver it to the ball field.
One thing I would ask you is get a hold of Ryan and 'cause he said he hadn't talked to anybody about price as far as what they had to pay. Make him have his contacts. I would find out exactly where it is.
I don't think it's that. My thought would be that we would know exactly what we're going down to get, if you've got a
Right.
13-yard dump, say we're going down with a 13-yard dump, and that would be
I would prob-
prepaid for it before you even got
I would
there.
probably say go with 10 yards because that
Because
was.
it's a long ride and that's heavy.
And
Yep,
and clay's heavy.
like it's
Yeah.
heavy, absolutely. Yep, sorry.
As Josh has abstained, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor? of supporting this project? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So vote.
Thank you very much to the board, and I will reach out to Ryan,
And then
have him
just
get in
him
touch with
hold of
you.
us. Yeah.
Yep.
We did,
Is there a day? So I don't know if you'll have to work out like delivery or pickup, or if
That
it's
would
just a
be-
pit that they're always open and I don't
Yeah.
know. So,
It might be something he'll have to find out from them.
Yep.
With us,
as long as it's not snowing.
So
Alright.
on the lines of the school area, have we done anything to fix our piece of the driveway?
our piece now.
When, can I ask another question? Just,
Yeah.
Okay.
I
When-
haven't been over there, so I don't even. know what it
when the
looks like.
school had it surveyed, which has already happened, correct? I think it's,
believe so.
I think it's been surveyed. Did they put any pins in the driveway that indicate where?
Not that I would see.
Okay,
When I was over there Friday grading the school portion, I just went basically straight with the back of the school, you know what I'm
Okay.
saying? And
yep.
I did not do the apron because
Well,
we're gonna,
whether we own that or not, it was pointed out that, can I quote that? Is that half S? Is how it was stated. And my first instinct was to get on there and say, well, don't call us, call the school, because it's not even our property.
First one or the second one? It was put on there
It
really
was
quick.
early week, early.
'Cause
Yeah.
It was just Friday that I was back over there.
Okay, so you,
Fine now.
They hammered it the first time because when I went in there at like 20 minutes to 3, I pulled in with the grader, there was 4 cars parked over there, and then the line started. And well, obviously you can't do anything, so I turned around, went back out, smoothed up that one section, and
did what you could do with the traffic that was there.
that's it. I
You're not expected to play dodgeball with cars.
So Friday, when I was over there, there was like half the school must not have been there because there was very few cars there. And I did, like I said, I got from basically the dumpster to the road straight out. I can't do anything with where that big mud hole is.
No, my thought was that if we could find that corner pin.
So we did take care of our portion.
We
then.
did.
Not our
And-
portion. Well, our portion would be from the school, that apron to the hydrant.
He didn't even do that.
Oh,
So he actually did.
but parents aren't pulling in there.
Oh, yeah, they do. Because that's the quickest way to get there.
Yeah.
That's why I say you've got a 50-foot driveway that I graded.
That's why I said if we can find that
They are-
corner pin,
They are learning to go up and in. You know what I mean?
I think we've got to set that pin. I think we have to reclaim that side of the building as grass if needed.
Well,
But-
that's what we discussed with
Right.
the guys from here.
Yep. I think it needs to be reclaimed and the driveway to the school needs to be put back as a driveway,
Right.
not a landing pad.
I just don't know if they can put a pin really in that
Well, I
parking
think,
lot.
right, and I think what it would be is if they put something there, it would have to be a sub-level pin that you'd have to find with a metal
Yeah.
detector.
Um,
Well, it would have to be staked, basically.
Well, I mean, if you've got a choice between driving on dirt,
Fence, you know what I mean? You're gonna have to put something there to stop people from driving on it.
if they pave it, people will drive on the pavement, I believe. I mean,
They're not gonna pay that section.
no,
Not the
what I'm
No,
saying.
But where they, I would hope once it's paved, people are using, like, that's not even where I thought they were talking. Like, I don't understand why you'd be way over there to go in back there.
Because that's what they do. They cut it quick
I've seen people almost take their mirrors off on the corner of the building.
and they almost hit the hydrant too on the way in. You know, they just love to hug that little corner. So I figured, okay, you're
I
gonna,
thought they were talking like on the other side.
they're gonna have to get used to when it's paved, like when he plows it. There's no need to plow that, just plow the.
Right.
blacktop.
Plow the driveway.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can do whatever you want, but
I haven't been there. I haven't picked up or dropped off.
we'll just, after your meeting,
Yep.
just buzz over there, just know that when you get to the edge of the school and you'll see it, it's pretty good.
Question. Are you still sanding? Okay,
Not,
because
this year
you're
was,
not responsible for plowing, but you're sanding.
we are standing, but. And usually they ask us if we can bring the broom over when we're moving the avenue and the corners and stuff and do the parking lot, but they have not approached us yet this year. Because there is quite a bit of sand on that driveway.
And the town is getting What for this?
That's all
Go
I've
ahead.
seen.
Yeah, I think that first complaint,
Don't own it.
And we don't own it.
I think that first complaint was the in and out I did because of the traffic.
Yep.
And I think it probably, yeah, I think it got rectified on Friday, because I went over with the grader, graded it, and then I went over the loader, because it leaves ridges, because you can't.
The only problem with that is now they think complaining on the internet will fix their
Oh,
problems.
I know. Trust me.
Don't you think if you could do it at midnight, you wouldn't have the cars?
2
No
a.m.
worries by the hydrant. I was just going by the conversation with the school, whoever it was, that wanted to know if the town was willing to pay to blacktop something that the school uses.
I was gonna say, I don't. Okay, no, that.
But I think,
Answers the question. Okay.
I think if you take a spin over there, you'll see it's,
I'm sure. I just, like I said, I haven't, so.
Well, quite honestly, if the town receives too many complaints about free service, we can just stop supplying the service.
well, I mean, I hate
What I
to do
was
that
gonna
because
respond
some
with,
people from the
but-
town work there. and-
Who said we're not making it because of the project that's went on in Britain? We're
Yes.
uncertain what's gonna happen.
Yes.
But is paving their portion.
Over there, I think they go looking at.
Who does intend on paving their portion, from what I understand, so that'll make it better.
The one nice thing is, once the school pays it, then there's clear boundaries of what the school owns, and the dirt is the dirt. You want to go in the dirt, that's on you.
No, we don't want them in the dirt.
Well, I'm just saying, if they want to complain they're in the dirt, look, there's a paved road, man. It's your own fault. Stay on the paving.
Yep. Any others on the roads?
Speed limit's 25 on the avenue. Thank you very much.
Greater tops that.
I mean, I don't think it gets that fast. Anyway.
What is the brand new car?
We're working on that. That's an ongoing, on that, any of the back roads you're talking, the dirt roads? Yeah, that's an ongoing process, trying to get that off. You can't take it all off at once, because I turn roads to grease. Or Mark turns roads to grease. But yes, that is an ongoing, because that is in our.
Especially if you do it a day before it rains.
Overall on the roads, if you're talking about not so much the graders going so fast, but I had someone complaining about, and I don't think it's anything we can do per se, the golf course and the golf carts just flying into the roadway. There's no stopping?
Not our deal.
Yeah, but when they enter the road
They've been
without
spoken-
stopping,
They have been spoken to, and
yeah, they're flying through onto the road surface
The last
sometimes.
time anything was actually done about that, like signs freshened up or anything like that, was the time that the young man got hit.
Yeah, I was about to
I
say,
put a sign up there last year for Todd.
I was gonna say
Right by
that.
Jerry's, because I think there's two. There's one golf course ahead, and then there's one with a guy with the buckshot in his.
Yep.
And then I don't know if there's two coming from the other side still or not, but I mean, it's.
Yeah, there's no real, I mean, they are crossing the best. They can cross for what they. It's. Yeah, correct. It's not a issue that we could handle.
Right.
When they originally
Right.
put in the golf course, they were told two accesses across the road. One where they come out by the clubhouse and then the other one onto the hill. So every once in a while, you get the people that'll come out by the clubhouse, and instead of going around the thing, they'll usually walk right there, but.
Yeah.
They have-
These are,
The one by the garage is perfectly fine. You can see in both directions.
I
quite
think
well.
you can both, on both.
The one on top of the hill is,
That's
that
hard.
one, I like to stand up on the cart and look both ways, because it's not, there's no good spot there, really. That hill is just wide enough, the crown is just high enough that you can't see in both directions.
And we have tried dropping the speed limit on the post road to 35, and that didn't go over well with the farm when there was a member of the select board on the. That was a long time ago, but we tried dropping it to 35 and
My only other option, other thought would be, and I don't think it should be something that town, that the taxpayer should have to put the bill on, would be the flashing pedestrian lights at the crossings. But I think that would be entirely on the golf course to put those in.
Yeah.
If they wanted to and they needed the approval from the select board, I would be more than happy to say, yes, those are awesome, go ahead. Flashing lights. Some of them are.
yeah,
Just don't care.
I'll look at it this way. The people that drive on the post route are subject to laws that don't allow them to drink and drive.
Don't
There
hassle
ain't no
with the
such
truck.
law for those guys running the golf cart.
If you were to go up and down the road, there is a lot. Any,
You're on that road and they pull you over and.
How many, all right, let's be realistic. How many of them are drinking? Gosh.
let's just say that if a cop wanted to sit there and watch the carts go across the road and pull them over, I would say there would be a fairly high percentage that could get.
but if they were gonna do that, they should start with four wheelers, because there's many more of that.
Yes.
So this,
But to your point, yes.
I didn't bring it to you, but you guys watching the news, there's far more right behind you.
There's a lot of that too.
Yep.
Yeah,
I can't deny
and not just under influence of alcohol.
that. Yeah, I can't deny that.
so the
Just
second,
had to put that little bit in there.
so the second thing was, did you see the stormwater water permit fees for the gravel pit? They sent they sent the email out. I just saw it pop into our box, so I figured to make sure you
That
got
note
it.
Should be in there.
In this? Wanna
Paid
break up?
today.
Okay. Well, I saw a notation of it. I just wanted to see if you got the email. No, you told me to sign it. Of course I read what I signed. I did. I even asked questions. Lance answered my questions. He said, just sign it, stop reading it.
I
They
think
did that before, they would have zero balance in the checking.
Yeah,
I think I did hear him say that when I was sitting back there too.
yeah. Anyhow, thank you.
The bus just went, come on. That was me.
Any others on the roads, Mac? We good? Anybody other questions here?
Not for Mac.
Signs are for Avenue
Loader. We own a loader? Oh, I didn't know that. I always thought the loader had,
and Terry.
I thought that's what we rented from Rick Green.
Oh, that's an excavator.
Oh, it's excavator.
What'd you miss?
Did I miss anything?
Nothing that's noteworthy. Nothing
Mr. Dumbledore?
nothing noteworthy yet.
Oh my God, we're renting that thing already.
No, that's, because, I mean, being the pits over there and we're screening gravel and, yeah. That's something, plus you have to load sand in the winter, that's something all towns basically own.
Good. Any others on the roads? Okay, thanks, Mac.
Thanks, Mac.
Reviewing the mail. These aren't mail, these are two other items. Amy, did we have any new mail?
There was no new, just the cannabis thing.
Oh, yes.
It was the Christmas thing, and there were 2 envelopes in there.
Yeah,
They're not-
these are not new mail, though. They're
Okay,
the
got
next
it.
2 items, sorry.
Perfect.
If anybody is interested, there's a regulations on cannabis, what Vermont municipality offices need to know. Tuesday, May 24th, 10 a.m. to noon via Zoom. We
It's
to
about
technically, we did not vote no. We voted no to put it to the taxpayers and never actually made a decision on it. So
So therefore, there is no proof. So
the way I have understood it, speaking with other boards, is although, yes, you are correct, there is no approval to sell cannabis in the town of Bakersfield. there is also no stopping the sale of cannabis because we did not put it to a vote.
So you're saying we need to put it to a vote tonight?
Now, isn't that a state statute? Cannabis?
The state statute says that it made it the,
That's what the class is about.
right, well,
So you
yes,
know what you have to do.
what it's all about.
There you go. What day and time is it? May 24th, you
May
said?
24th, 10 to noon. So you're only on the hook for 2 hours. There is it is on Zoom.
You do have to pay for it.
There is a cost, but that cost obviously would be, that would be covered by the town as. Is anybody interested in going to this to figure out what we can or cannot approve or deny? 10 to noon on Zoom, May 24th, which is a Tuesday.
I can try to attend it.
It's entirely up to you. Nobody is saying you have to.
Oh, okay.
No, this is just,
I cannot attend that application.
so if anybody wants to attend this and get the information, we then could put it to a vote. Or we could put it to a vote today. I'm not particular in any one way or the other. So okay, you have a copy. Terry, did you want a copy of this? It gives you where to register and everything. And I think, Tammy, how does that usually work for the registration? You go in there and punch it in under the town of Bakersfield. Okay.
Kathy will probably go.
And then they bill us, correct? Yep. So you would not incur that cost. That would be.
All right.
All right. If anybody does, I think that's the day after our second meeting. I don't have my, I do have my,
24th, you said?
is that the day after or is
Just open it now. It is the day after our,
after our second meeting? So we wouldn't be able to address that until the first meeting in June.
which will be
But
the 13th. Generally, yeah, Dukes of Hazzard, they're jumping dirt piles.
next board business is dog issue on the avenue. Now, John, I know you handled this. From
Yes.
our discussions.
Yes.
We gave them a deadline, but personal opinion, I do not feel with the town office being closed,
Yeah, we can't hold that to them.
I don't feel we can hold them to that deadline.
No.
However, do we have a? So last year we had an issue with, I can let you read this, but a couple loose dogs on.
Last year?
Last
Yes.
year it was an issue. I addressed it
Okay.
and there was no other issues. This year it's happened again. It's a couple dogs that, they've got some fresh air and they're out and they're enjoying the fresh air while little kids are walking by or adults. And as the people who are walking, running by go, the dogs come out to greet them. It's said in here that they are good dogs and to go home. However, that hasn't worked and a couple of the kids are afraid of dogs. So that's an issue. But last year, I walked by this property multiple times and as the owner said, if you tell them to go home, they do listen. But again, I'm not a 9-year-old child who's afraid of dogs. So it's a different issue with a full-grown adult and a child.
In clarification, Mr. Chairman, it's the same dog, same owner.
It is the same dog, same owner. Last year, like I said, when I went and talked with him, the issue was handled on the spot. It says that in the letter. There were no further issues. This year, John went and spoke with him, as I was not able to. And John, well, you had the conversation. Was he accepting of the conversation? Did he?
Yeah, he was very, he's very apologetic. He was very articulate and he said the dogs found another way out and he fixed it, but he thought he had it fixed and they hit it a second time and the lock popped. And he put a different lock on the doors. He doesn't like them that much. He's going to do something moving forward. I explained to him, that according to our ordinance, that, there's multiple spots in our ordinance that he's in violation of under section 5. We don't have any licenses for the dog, nothing on record. Obviously, if they're not licensed by us, they can't display the licenses. The dogs are leaving the property. The dogs are not, it's fine if the dogs run around on the property, but they're leaving the property, headed in the roadway, blah, blah, blah. He totally understood. I handed him a physical copy of the ordinance, so he had it. Because according to our ordinance, Josh pretty much gave him what would be determined on page 3 as the verbal. And I gave him the written portion of it, handing him the ordinances and explaining where he was in violation of it under section 5. I did explain to him that these can go up to $500 fines for each violation. So, he has 5 or 6 of them here. So you're talking technically it can go up to $2,500 to $3,000 according to this ordinance if it's not rectified. I told him he had to come over and get the dogs licensed right away before this meeting. But as Josh pointed out, unfortunately, the office was closed more often than open, and that it would require his dog's rabies shots, records, and everything with the vets to get done. So he said that he would work on it. And as I said, I did reach out and I talked to Tammy yesterday. I'm sorry, I talked to Tammy today, and we don't think he was in last week to register. Did he show up today before you left, Tammy? So he has 3 dogs. The dogs in question, the letter talks about boxer, pit bull or something. It's a boxer, and the other one is how old? Is it, Terry, is that what you asked? What was your question?
No, she said, is there not more than 3 dogs?
He has 3 dogs.
Oh, yeah.
Between 6
He has like he has a poodle, he has a boxer, and he has like a hound dog or a hunting dog. The children, the problem is I don't know about a shepherd. The problem with the children is the children are the height of the dog. So when the dogs come out in the street, they appear to be very aggressive. And as I explained to him, if, he should be more worried about if those children get bit, he's totally liable for everything that comes with that. So we'll see how it works. If he doesn't come in this week, we'll have to go over and say, hey, we know we were closed and we're going to assume you made attempts, but you need to get it registered before the next select board meeting, or we're going to have to talk about the fines. The other thing, I printed out a copy of the ordinance just sort of.
They have a huge pen out back.
They do. It's big, it's fenced in. There's a little building that's incorporated into the pen in the back corner, and that's where they were going in for the winter. Well, apparently that outer door is what they were breaking through to get out. And as he said, it's the hound dog. When the hound dog gets out, the boxer follows. If the boxer gets out, he doesn't go anywhere. But since he has a comrade in arms, he goes and follows that hound dog wherever the heck it goes.
Anybody that's had hound dogs from Bakersfield.
Yeah, and this was a dog. Both dogs he's rescued. One was from an elderly couple who couldn't handle it. The boxer, it was just too active, and the other one was a dog abandoned in the woods that he found and took into his home. He says, hindsight, blah blah blah, but he had the best interest at heart. He just needs to keep those dogs penned in and get them licensed appropriately and make sure their shot records are up to date.
As I said last year, he received my visit very well, very respectful, and that's why, and it was taken care of last year. This is just, I'm hoping it's just a revisit. Maybe, are you comfortable reaching out to Jan?
I actually called Jan again today and asked her if it's calmed down. She never got back to me today.
Okay.
I was following up with
No,
her.
I think that's exactly what I was going to request of you, is if you reach out and just see if, because again, last year he took the visit and he did as he was asked. Hopefully the same thing happened this time, and we can just get him in here to get them licensed and make
Right.
sure their vaccinations are up to date. So.
Now, this ordinance was originally written in 2002, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. It was last revisited 12 years ago. and looked at. I didn't know, I don't think it needs anything, but maybe just,
There's a couple things.
you know,
One of the things I had noticed right off was that the dogs will be, let's see here, section 9 penalties, subsection A, bullet number 3.
right.
That's impounded, may be impounded with the following charges payable to the town. We do not have an impounding facility, so those are null and void.
Unless you volunteer. We do have, yeah.
Dog-
Position filled.
And they won't be brought to Franklin County.
No,
Yeah,
if we ever had this filled, this is what we want to fall back on as far as
Yep.
cost.
yep. Yeah, I agree with that. I believe there was a visit. I think it was a verbal complaint brought to the select board. I can't recollect.
And Brenda, I'm the one who said to Jan, according to our ordinance, if, she needs to put it in writing according to the ordinance. That's why Jan did it. I did not get a rock with a heart on it. Darn it.
So yes, if we don't hear anything from him on registering the dogs by the next meeting,
You want to go that long? I was just gonna say, if he doesn't come in by the end of the week, I'm off this week. I can try to catch him on Friday again.
if that's a task you're willing to tackle, I appreciate it.
And I'll just tell him. Yeah, and then I'll just inform him to have it done by the next meeting, or we're gonna have to talk plans. I will. He's just really nice. I mean, like for a guy who doesn't know me, I walked on his property. He wasn't all up in arms. And he's cordial to me. He's a really nice guy.
No, same way he was received last year. Next item is the Cook's Cemetery contract. Which is submitted by Ross Allen. Mow, trim, and clean up debris as needed. I'm not sure if this needs to be formally done or with a motion and a second, or if it's just been, we don't put it out to bid. It's just.
No, I believe it's the same amount as it was last year.
Yes, I agree. Don't find where that's in there, though.
It's in the, I believe the $750 is the same that
I think
he
it's
asked to be paid last year.
probably that's Ross Allen. Here's the. So that's just the contract for mowing, cleaning the Cook Cemetery.
How much bigger is Maple Grove Cemetery versus Cook?
Maple Grove.
Yeah.
Is the one right here next
Oh,
to the building.
Yeah, what's the size difference? I mean,
It's
much larger?
significant.
Okay.
The Cook Brook Cemetery is probably the size of this room.
Okay, I was wondering because his prices, obviously, when we just heard earlier this evening, it's $10,000 for Maple. I'm like, why is it so much when I saw the mail?
Yeah, you're talking.
Here it is.
Significantly different.
Haven't paid anything.
Yeah.
No problem.
The comment from the floor is that Cook Cemetery is not something that is maintained weekly even. It's a very old cemetery that is at the intersection of East Bakersfield and Joyle Road. It's a cool old cemetery. Another project I had when I was in high school is we actually went up and reclaimed it. Me, my father, and my grandfather. Again, 20 something years ago. So And it's just been kept up since then. There were some rather large stems growing in there back then.
I think Ross hits it through like 3 or 4 times a year.
Yeah, it's not a grass cemetery by any means. It's mostly moss covered. Yeah, keep the brush back, basically. No, he does say that he'll go up, trim around the stones and clean debris and limbs as needed. So just for anybody who's wondering what that entails. So
I'll make a motion to accept Ross Allen's bid for the mowing and trimming of the Cook Cemetery in East Bakersfield.
Second that motion.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? There we go. Congratulations, Ross. Next, updates on the East Bakersfield Culvert project. I do not believe we should have any. What's Luke, I believe?
Yeah.
At the last meeting, Lance, we did go over that he is going to do all the steps, and until it starts costing us money, we've given him the green light.
Mac and I did talk to one of the engineers that was approached to give an estimate.
To submit a bid.
Something like that. 5 or 6.
So you get a group rate basically on the engineering. Okay.
Mr. Billingsley.
Yep. That's
Mr. Billingsley was of the same opinion as we are, that
it's not in disrepair.
why are they spending money on this particular bridge? It's in reasonably good shape. It doesn't need replacing.
Okay.
Tributary to Trout Stream, so it must be the outflow.
Flows down into, which would be the Witch Cat, and yeah.
But that dries up every summer.
Yes, I agree. I just, yep, if the state wants to throw money at it, by all means. External audit update. We have received nothing yet, Tammy. Well, let's hope it's still tax season and they're still busy. Maybe, would it be worth sending out the letters again? I mean, how much does it
Or
really
send
cost
it
us to
out.
send those again?
I sent it out, what, 4 weeks ago?
Yeah,
I'll
we
reach
sent it
out
out.
to KBS.
sent it-
Kelly just got back.
We
from
sent it out right in
vacation.
the middle of tax season though. There's a lot of stuff coming in that all gets put in this pile over here and then
Yeah,
we forget about it. So maybe sending it out again. I mean, we send out 6 of them at 50 cents a piece. We're talking $3 to get a quote. So could be worth it in the end. Town hall furnace replacement has been tabled. Any others?
I actually have 2.
Awesome, John.
I always have something.
I would expect nothing.
Nothing less. Thank you.
sir.
So, Tammy, and it's more towards Tammy. Tammy, do we have any update on the ATV sticker sales?
Yes, I just sold number 41.
there you go.
42.
42, not necessarily sold. 42 have been distributed. Tammy, do you have an actual number as to how many are sold and how many are residents?
Well, tonight was a resident, so I'm guessing maybe
50-50?
8 residents. No,
Oh, great.
no, much more out of towners.
Excellent.
Perfect.
Thank you. Thank you to all the out of towners who have come up and followed our rules and guidelines and respected our town roads.
Absolutely.
Second item, John.
The second was another one of these things, someone, one of the neighbors was approaching me on, and it's just, to me, I promised I would bring it up. I'll just put it that way. So before
That
You-
your
you-
legit neighbor, or are you saying
It's-
just town-wide? Your neighbor?
No, it's legit. One of my neighbors on my road. It's a neighbor on Joyle Road brought
Okay.
this up.
Just asking for clarification.
It clarified now. And it's regarding free range chickens. The folks are letting the chickens, you know, they don't fence them at all in and they're going on other people's properties and one person wants to know. What, I said, I promised I'd bring it up. They wanted to know if it's on their property and they decide they want to have chicken tonight. Can they have chicken tonight?
It's what's for dinner.
Okay, they want to know because these things are just
Not
roaming.
even out, we have nothing on
That's
chickens.
that's nothing on us.
Okay,
Yep.
I promised I
They
would
could
bring it
call
up.
ag.
Yep. There is no leash law on the chickens.
Oh, they
No,
were saying, you know, if it's deer season, the deer walks across their lawn, they want deer, they have deer.
That's a wild animal.
If it's a chicken walking across their lawn, because it's free range, they want to eat it.
I suppose if you could prove it's a wild chicken,
Essex, one,
what?
like the deer were damaging the garden and they weren't allowed
Oh,
to shoot
no, you
them.
can't shoot them in.
You can't kill a deer out season, supposedly.
Out of season if the deer.
what do
comes
you
on
mean
your property.
supposedly?
See, Lance backed me up on that.
In Essex? That was out on Brigham Hill Road. Yeah, it was way out.
You can shoot in my backyard.
I have shot in my backyard.
We're not allowed to shoot in our yards?
Absolutely.
Okay. I shot in my
5
yard.
feet out of the dwelling.
Targets them. I don't kill the animal.
I didn't have a deck yet, so I just opened the window.
I'm sorry?
The chicken question?
The chicken question comes from Joyle Road.
Joyle Road, got it.
My neighbors on Joyle Road just wanted to know. A Philly chicken tonight. About chickens on the road?
About chickens being on
Trespassing
other
chickens.
people's lawn and.
Oh.
Now,
that's where I
on
got
the
it
plus side, chickens have been known to eat ticks. So if you'd
Yes.
like to reduce the number of ticks on your property, steal a neighbor's chicken.
from.
Watch three steps.
Just watch three steps, yeah. All right, any others, John?
I have no other
think
others.
it's
I
rude
ran
not
out.
To keep your chickens on your own lawn, but I am thinking of getting some.
No free range donkeys, nothing like that.
We have a donkey on Joyle, or we used to. I don't know if it's still there.
Well, Lance moved back to Lawyer Road. All right, I would entertain a motion.
I'll have you know, there's a difference between a donkey and an ass.
Somebody second that.
I second it.
Second.
I'll second it.
All those in
Everyone
favor
seconds
of adjournment signify by saying aye. Lenny
Aye.
seconded.
Bye.
John did. John.
7 of us did. There's only 5 on the
All
board.
those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it.
33.
Shut that off.
8:33. I know, it's the season.